Welcome to the Spudcast, the podcast where we bring you the stories, the successes, and the real community conversations behind Moorhead Area Public Schools. I'm your host, Brenda Richmond, with our superintendent, Dr. Brandon Lunick.
Today we're focusing on our single highest priority across the entire district, the physical safety, security, and well-being of our students and staff. To share more about how we keep our students protected, we are honored today to be joined by the Moorhead Police Chief, Chris Helmick. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brenda. Appreciate having me here. And Dr. Lunick, thanks for having me on for the conversation.
Chief, Moorhead Area Public Schools and the Moorhead Police Department have a long-standing partnership. From a high-level perspective, talk to us about how your officers and our district leadership work together to prepare for emergencies and keep the schools protected.
Yeah, well, that's obviously really important for us, and I know it's important for the district as well. One of the most obvious things is the school resource officers. And as I think most people know by now, that last year we finally got all the SROs back into the schools. And that was really a top priority for our department to do that. And I think as the school year went on, we saw the importance of that and having them present, provide service to the school itself, but also helps keep us informed as a department, what's going on, what do we need to be concerned, how can we help, constantly communicating on different issues or working through problems that might come up.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about some of the drills that were run this summer. I know that there were some pretty great planning drills that happened.
Absolutely. Well, we had our Asher training is centered around active threat, but it's really focus more on fire department response, but there's obviously a police role that's involved with that. The intent is just making sure that we know how fire is going to respond, how police is going to respond, and also how the school and the district is going to respond in those situations. Our department did some additional active threat training that we really hadn't done in quite a while. So our officers got to spend some time inside the high school and do some actual training. That's really beneficial for us because, again, we don't want anything to happen in the schools, but if it does, it's good to train in those types of environments so we kind of understand all the ins and outs of what can happen. And that training was very realistic. We were using what we call simunition, ran all of our officers, including myself, and it was really beneficial. Again, we hadn't done that in quite a while, and the officers seem to enjoy it. They like to do that dynamic training.
If I could get you to go back to your SROs for a little bit.
Yep.
Just talk to us a little bit about the model. What is our SRO model? What kind of training do you put them through?
Well, first of all, we have 3 SROs currently. We've got one that's stationed at the high school. We have one that's stationed at Horizon. And then we have a third that kind of shares time with elementary schools, helps out at Horizon. As far as what's required to become a school resource officer, first and foremost, we're looking for officers that are interested in that type of work. Sometimes that's a challenge. It takes a special type of person to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go in and I'm going to spend time with kids. My experience has been every time someone has gone in as a school resource officer, they have found it incredibly rewarding, and it's something that they want to continue doing. The state requires that all of our SROs go through training, a state training that is provided to them. And then we also have organizations that have ongoing training, and typically in the summertime, they're attending conferences or they're attending some advanced training. So it is more than just taking a police officer and putting them into the school. We have to have officers that understand their role. They're there to be a resource and not just interact with the kids, but also the staff, the administration. At the very core of that is making sure that we pick the right officers that have the raw materials. Then we'll provide the training for them. And then we'll help support them as they do that role.
And Chief, it's fun to be in the schools and watch them do that because they're out there giving kids high fives as they come in, and you've chosen great people for that. And I think our SRO relationship goes back about 30 years. And as I think of that, society has changed incredibly in 30 years.
Really
and
has.
Recently, with legalization of recreational THC and cannabis in Minnesota.
Yep.
There's some big changes there, and I think questions that parents and educators are asking about substance abuse and keeping kids safe in those situations.
Yep.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Right now, I think the biggest challenge is understanding that, in our state, it's generally legal to have cannabis and THC products. Again, we're not talking about the right or wrong side of that, but what we are concerned about is if parents are having those substances at home, making sure that kids aren't getting into that stuff and having access to that stuff. It's different, but it's also very similar to alcohol, and that we don't give kids access to that. I think also having a conversation with kids too. Hey, let's talk about what these substances are, what they can do to you, why you should not be using those substances, and dangers and risks that come with that. So those conversations need to continue, even though it's legalized now.
Back to school is such an exciting time. That first day back at school, we've got every parent dropping off their kids. What advice do you have for parents, students, families, community members? What advice can you give us that will help make that back to school even more safe?
I think the first thing I would tell folks is be patient. Everyone wants to be at school for the first day pictures. There's a lot more traffic than normal. You got kids that are riding bikes, walking. There's just a lot going on. Everyone be just mindful and be patient that day. Give themselves some extra time, that things are going to take longer than normal. One of the things that we're going to do again this year is we're going to make sure we have a real heavy presence that first day at all the schools. Something else too that I should point out, that the state law is changing a little bit when it comes to school buses. The red lights by themselves mean that you need to stop, even if the stop arm isn't out, and they have to stop at least 20 feet away from the bus. Again, we're trying to make sure that those kids are getting on and off that bus safely, and people need to be attentive to that. But my biggest piece of advice is just slow down, be patient, and be attentive.
I love that, because really safety is a shared community responsibility, isn't
absolutely.
it? It's not up to the police department, it's not up to the
Yes.
schools, it's not up to just parents. Like, we're all in this together, and our kids are our most important part of this community.
Absolutely.
As we think of that shared responsibility, talk to the parent who's out there today saying, how can I talk to my kids about safety and about, I hear the see something, say something, like,
Yeah.
what do I say to my kid?
Let me just go back to that traffic safety piece of it. That was something we really tried to convey last year, is that, everyone expects the police department to write more tickets, or the school district to do something about that. That's just one part of the equation. The other part of this, the community, traffic safety is everybody's responsibility. But when you talk about safety, that also starts at home. You can't expect that the school district's going to be able to educate on everything that could happen. So it really starts at home and having those conversations. Let's talk to kids about some of the dangers. If somebody offers you something, teaching kids how to safely ride their bike to school or walk to school, how to safely cross a roundabout. We can't just rely on the school or the police to always do those things. It is a team effort. So there's all kinds of conversations to be had.
I just can't emphasize enough to say thank you to you and your staff for keeping not only our schools safe, but our community safe. You guys do it well, and I just want to express my appreciation for that. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's a tough job sometimes, but we also know it's a team effort too. We couldn't have done those things by ourselves either. So it is definitely a team effort. And same goes with community safety. We can do our part, but the rest of the community, parents, they have to do their part as well. And we're here to help maybe get the word out on some of those things, but at the end of the day, we really need their help to help us keep the community safe. We'll keep doing our part. We're going to keep valuing those partnerships, and we're going to definitely do what we can to support back to school and the upcoming school year. Again, we really appreciate the partnership.
Awesome. Well, we do really appreciate you, and thanks for your time today, Chief Helmick.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us today for this important conversation on school safety. The Spudcast is the way that we connect with you. So subscribe on the YouTube channel so that you don't miss an episode. And as always, it's a great day to be a Spud.
Underneath the dirt we grow so strong.